Fair.
Like the former TCA tight end. But you know what? Y'all mind if I talk? Well, actually, Cody, you should talk about Fairview because you went to most of their games.
Well, I went to 2. But, I mean,
yes,
we know the story here. We're all familiar. Freshman Bekkem Kritza has caught, the state on fire with over 3,000 yards in his very first year. I'm pretty sure it's leading the state on 65% completion, 22 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. He can push the ball down the field. He's pretty good about going through multiple reads even. And, he's just been electric this year, and it kind of helps when you have a receiving core as talented. Jordan Rochelle has actually led this receiving unit in yards with 845 and 10 scores. But then you also have sophomore Ben Hawley, who's contributed 577 yards. You have senior Ben Anderson, who's contributed 534 yards and is great at moving the chains, those two combining for 9 touchdowns. The biggest blow to this team was definitely losing Grant Page at the midway point of the season against Chaparral. You can't replace that explosiveness and route running, but they have tried by spreading it out pretty good. Naz Valadez Benavente, there we go. He's kind of tried to pick up some slack by getting 36 receptions himself, and Zach Lewis, the backfield, has picked up 264 yards through the air, but also contributed 370 yards on the ground and 6 scores. And, he does a pretty good job on the defensive side of the ball, getting 104 tackles and 7 for loss. And, their entire front 7 has been pretty solid this year, and I think that they're a solid team that has competed very well for how young their team is, really. They don't have a whole lot of seniors on this team, especially after Grant Page went down. And they're all looking to Bekkem to lead the way. And I'd say he's done a pretty decent job, leading this team to a 6-4 record. They faced a lot of adversity this year. I think that their loss to Castleview was definitely a blunder. And, it was their first away game of the year. So there's been a lot of growing pains this year. This Chaparral game, it was mainly the injury of Grant Page that kind of stuck them. And I think that kind of, I don't want to say trauma, but that energy carried over into that legacy game where they kind of got thumped. But they got into a rhythm again and beat some of these solid teams before barely losing to Horizon this last week. I think that they are about to put up, another 30 points and 300 plus offensive yards this last week.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. They're going to put up a bunch of points. As well, Thunder Ridge. And so let me go ahead and talk about Thunder Ridge. They are one of the most explosive offenses in the state, led by star quarterback Seth Frazier. This year, he threw for 1,000. Well, okay, it's basically 1,600 passing yards, but it's 1,599 if you want to get specific there. But through 27 touchdowns to only 8 interceptions. He is also the leading rusher, which I didn't know, but he ran for 829 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns on the year, both leading this team in rushing yards, carries, and rushing touchdowns. Now, the second guy, his actual running back, J.D. Rickford, J.D. Rickford, he ran for 687 rushing yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. And then the other big athlete on this Thunder Ridge team, Chase Tompkins, he is a receiver actually, but he ran for 187 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. As a receiver though, he was big time. He was Frazier's number 1 target, or at least one of his number 1 targets, catching for 459 receiving yards and 11 receiving touchdowns, leading the team in receiving touchdowns. And then it's Jack Horsford who led the team in receiving yards with 536 and 9 receiving touchdowns, right behind Tompkins. And so that squad, this Thunder Ridge squad, in the past I feel like they've been more known for defense and playing good defense, but this year I would say it's all about offense. They've won a lot of games because of their offensive play. And, I'm going to only shout out 2 defensive players here, and that is Derek Pacheco. I want to say he's a DB for the squad who has snagged 4 interceptions throughout this year. And then sophomore Will Fisher, the lead tackler for the squad with 67 total tackles. Now, if you want to go into their schedule, they've only lost 2 games. One of them was against Arapahoe, 38-14, and then the other one was against Valor Christian, where they lost 52-21. But some other playoff teams they did beat: Castview 38-3, Mountain Vista 35-16, Rock Canyon 28-18. And then I guess if you want to throw in Far East North or Far Northeast Warriors, whatever, they beat them 47-0 at the start of the season to get things started. So with that being said, wait a second, who are we sending to this game? I know we're sending somebody to this game. That's not like a question at all. Is it Mason?
Yeah, I'm going to this game.
Hey, lit. So actually, Mason, I'm going to ask you, who do you think is going to win this playoff game? What is your prediction? This is a tough one. I'm not going to lie. You could probably flip a coin and, that answer might be right too. So,
Yeah, personally, I think that Fairview has this.
Okay.
I'm going to lean on that freshman quarterback. I think he can pull this one off. It's going to be a very tough game for him. It's going to be a tough game for both sides of the ball. Both squads are going to be putting up points, but I think that Fairview pulls this one off. What do you think, Simon?
Okay. This one's tough. I think I'm gonna have to rock with Thunder Ridge though. This is no offense to Bekkem, but it is his first playoff game, and they're not gonna ask him to game manage, because against a team like Thunder Ridge, you just can't do that. Thunder Ridge, they're gonna, especially with this many seniors on the squad, they're gonna try to put up as many points as possible and light up the scoreboard. Most likely, what's gonna happen is that Bekkem Kritza, he's gonna have to play an excellent first playoff game ever, by the way, because he is a freshman. Tough senior quarterback who, is arguably top 3, top 5 in the state at his position, and is somebody who could put up touchdowns at any given moment, having that ability to throw from multiple different angles and having all his weapons as well. And so I'm just going to go with the safe choice here and pick Thunder Ridge. Like I said, I could see Fairview winning and, Bekkem and all them getting their first playoff dub, but this is not an easy thing to ask out of him. I think Bekkem, he for sure has to throw over 300 yards, and then ideally at least 3 touchdowns, at least, and then no interceptions for them to beat this Thunder Ridge team. I think that is just a bare minimum for them to at least be competing with them. Ideally, he has more than 3 touchdowns and over 300 yards. So, yeah. I'm rocking with Thunder Ridge and Seth Frazier, at least for this one. I'm going with my gut here. What about you, Cody? What is you're the tiebreaker, so who do you decide is going to win this game? Who do you think is going to
conclude the 5A first round of the playoff predictions? I'm going to say age before beauty and the experienced Thunder Ridge Grizzlies take a win from the Fairview Knights in this opening playoff game. I think that, the experience that Seth Frazier has gotten this year, as well as just being in this Thunder Ridge program, who definitely it was an odd year last year for them to not be good. They're usually the most dominant team in the Highlands Ranch area, and other than Valor Christian. But I just think that, they've returned back to normal, and that is fully marked by a playoff win, and that they start, getting excited to try and get revenge against Arapahoe, who seems vulnerable right now. But
fair enough.
I could definitely see it.
Yeah, it could go either way. Bekkem could go crazy, and and this is his true coming out party, defeating a seasoned vet and whatnot. So I don't know. But sorry, go ahead, Cody.
Go ahead, Cody.
So, yeah, that'll do it for our 5A playoff preview as well as our 4A